Tom Joad is hitchhiking home after being released from the state prison on parole. Tom Joad has served 4 years of a 7-year sentence. He catches a ride with the truck driver who takes him to the road which leads to his family's farm. So that's an interesting beginning. Tom Joad hitchhiking home after being released from prison. That's just like Les Miserables. Jean Valjean. Jean Valjean goes to prison for stealing bread, and then he's returning home. So Jean Valjean, the main character of Les Miserables, The Miserables. Les Miserables, which is, of course, the opera, the rich man's opera about the plight of poor people. So Jean Valjean comes home because he was stealing food, but Tom Joad, he comes home because he had killed a man. And he served 4 years of a 7-year sentence. So think about that. Must have been somewhat justified, right? Must have been somewhat justified. 4 years? Get on out of here. He served 4 years. He catches a ride with the truck driver who takes him to the road which leads to his family's farm. As Tom Joad is walking the rest of the way, he meets Jim Casey, an itinerant preacher. Jim Casey explains that he has been away for some time, trying to figure out some things, and has decided that since all things are holy, he need not be a preacher anymore, but all he needs is to just live with the people, because the people themselves are holy. Where there's people, there's power, says Fred Hampton. What was it that Nat Turner said? Nat Turner said something interesting. He said, it's time for us to sing ourselves a new song. When they arrive, so they go together. He meets his Jim Casey, Tom Joad. They go together to Tom Joad's place. When Jim Casey and Tom Joad arrive, they find that his family's farm is deserted. And they can't understand it. What? Where's Ma and Pa and Grandma and Grandpa and Laura May and Ellie Mae and Sally Mae? When they arrived, they found that the place is deserted. They can't understand it. It looks as though all the neighboring farms are deserted. Soon they see somebody coming, and it's Muley Graves. Good old Muley Graves, who tells him that Tom's folks are at his Uncle John's. Jim and Tom sleep in the fields at night, walk on to Uncle John's the next day. Okay. When they arrive, Tom Joad and Jim Casey find that the Joads are making preparations for a trip. So far, the Cliff Notes version of the Grapes of Wrath is better than Melville's Billy Budd. That pretentious son of a bitch. When they arrive, they find the Joads making preparations for a trip. It's explained to Tom that the banks and large companies closed out all the small farmers, and now most of them are heading to California where they're supposed to be working. Just like Monopoly, right? One person gets to win in capitalism, and everybody else goes bankrupt. Except for the bank. Actually, the bank never loses. So one person gets to be almost the richest, entity on the board in life, but actually the bank even beats that person. Unless they could bankrupt the bank. They could bankrupt the bank. I remember seeing some of the clips to this movie. It seems like it's pretty sad story. Let's just, instead of reading all this, let's just go ahead and try to talk. They arrive, he sees his people are leaving, they sell all their things. $18 for their entire lives, everything. How much for my entire life's everything? $18? Deal! I'll take it. So that's all they got. They got $18, and who knows how many the Joads are. We'll assume, fucking 6? And this isn't the Beverly Hillbillies. This is the fucking poor hillbillies, right? So the dumb, poor Dust Bowl hillbillies. This is the Great Depression. And even though this is fictional, so it's a little bit removed, so, I don't have to feel like totally bad for these people, these characters, but they represent the average working class Americans back in that day and age. So this is, based on true stuff. So Jim Casey and Tom Joad are our main guys. He joins going to California looking for work. Now they spell Grandpa Graham, G-R-M-P-A, G-R-A-M-P-A. Not grand, but Graham. Old Grammy Grandpa. And then Grandma is G-R-A-N-M-A. G-R-A-N-M-A. Isn't that the grandma? Wasn't that the Fidel Castro? Che Guevara, didn't they come to Cuba on the grandma? But that's nice and colloquial, right? It makes you feel like it's not my grandmother was a dumb racist piece of shit, a child abusing piece of shit, just fucking Confederate racist, a worthless, she used to paint her fucking eyebrows on, just fake, gross, disgusting, mean, hate-filled, and loves to hit little boys, just love to fucking beat the crap out of little bitty boys for some reason. But I imagine that there's good in, there's good grandpas and grandmas out there. So assuming you had good grandma and grandpa, then that would make you feel it's colloquial, right? It's not grandma, but old Grammy, old granny, old grandma, granny. Anyways. So Grandpa dies. Grandpa doesn't want to leave, and they make him leave anyways, and they said they doped him up. So would they fucking whiskey, or they poisoned him or something? Then he died. What, did he die of the poison? What the fuck? And that was after they stopped on the first night. So Grandpa Job's like, I don't want to leave. You got to, Grandpa. Listen here, you old motherfucker. The bank is telling us, you know what, Grandpa, you should have stayed at the fucking house, and, you died anyways. What the fuck? You didn't have nothing to lose. Stand up to the damn banksters. When they stop on the first night of the journey west, Grandpa has a stroke, dies immediately. The Joad stopped next. They see the Wilsons. So the Wilsons and the Joads are all going to California. They borrow a quilt from the Wilsons, and they bury Grandpa. So they actually kind of buried Grandpa with a little bit of, flair and ceremony. They help out the Wilsons, and then they move on. Now Grandma Joad is getting sicker and sicker. They begin the trip across the great desert. Ma Joad realizes Grandma's dying. She explains to Grandma, they got to get across the desert. They got to get across the desert. Listen here, old woman. We're going to cross to California. That'd been some badass motherfucking shit. Grandma and Grandpa Joad. Especially today's, with social media. Who the fuck would say that Grandma and Grandpa Joad has to give their, homestead up to the fucking banksters? Motherfucking, they get Social Security, they've been on this planet. Fuck you. You could stay right in that same house. You've been in that house for 40 years, you get to stay in that house. You'll die right in that house. That's how I feel. What jury is going to say to Grandma and Grandpa Joad, who stayed back in their family's homestead, to, shoot it out with the banksters when they try to take over? The only thing, the banksters might not be able to take it from them. The only thing that could possibly is the new tenants. But we paid the guy for the thing, and Grandma Joad dies early in the night. So this is foreshadowing. This is the Oregon Trail. This is everybody dying of dysentery. This is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. 1 dies, 2 dies. Everybody's going to die. Maybe there'll be one winner, right? Charlie was the winner in he gets the whole chocolate factory. Maybe that's where John Steinbeck is going with this little ditty here. This little. They pull some Weekend at Bernie shit with Grandma, pretend that she's still alive. The guard looks at Grandma and they're like, we gotta get her to the hospital. She's dying. Well, actually, she's dead. And she's, the rigor mortis, she'd look frozen. I don't see how anybody could see a frozen, stiff corpse and be like, yeah, that's a live person. But anyways, they trick the guard. Then they throw Mama out into the damn desert. And she just got buried a pauper. So they didn't even put her in a blanket. Just kind of put her on the side of the road. Put her in a ditch. See you later, Grandma. See you later, Grandma. And, I bet you she wasn't a terrible piece of crap. So what a terrible ending for Grandma Joad. Finally, the Joads arrive in some camp. The sheriff's camp. We'll have a government camp. We'll say the federal government and the sheriff's camp. And the sheriff's camp is fucking corrupt. It's filthy, disorderly. And then a person is coming through, a contractor is saying, all right, I got some work. Who wants some work? And one of Tom Joad's friends says, what are you paying? They said, what are you, some sort of commie? I said, I got work. You just, if I say I got work, you fucking you nibble at the bit, motherfucker. I got work, you son of a bitch. You come here and you be my fucking slave. The last job I had was $3 an hour. Power washing fucking trucks for some ungrateful fat fucking... But I needed to prove to my... right-wing neighbor next door that I'm able to work. It's not that not afraid of the work. It's the pieces of shit that would exploit someone's labor for $3 an hour. $3 an hour, huh? And he wouldn't even smoke weed with me, so it was fuck you. 2 days, 1 day of that shit. It was good exercise. I got out in the sun. It was a nice little pressure washer he had. And it reminded me of the good old days. When only the good die young. When a friend of Tom's asked what they're paying. Hey, what you paying? You can't even ask that, you son of a bitch. $3 an hour now. Fucking get in a truck. Nah, that's good enough. $3 an hour. What, you want more? Here there is law and order, but the Joads are still... Okay, so they leave that camp. A fight happens. The sheriff tells everybody, you better get out, because they're going to burn the camp. So the Joads are like, okay, time to get on out of here. They go to a government camp, which is actually protected from the sheriff. So, goodness fucking gracious. Grandma died, Grandpa died, sheriff's corrupt. I mean, that's been America my whole life. You ever met a sheriff that actually gave a shit about protecting and serving the public? I think maybe one or two. They hear of work in a peach orchard. When they arrive, their orchard. It says orchard. It says orchard. Fuck you, English assholes. You want me to pronounce your fucking shit right? Spell it right. When they arrive, they're escorted into the camp by policemen. There are many men standing outside the camp, some yelling and waving. The Joads begin picking peaches immediately so they can have something to eat that night. Later, Tom slips outside to investigate the situation involving the yelling men. He finds his friend Jim Casey, who's been in prison, and Casey tells Tom that they're striking against the owners of the orchard, who cut the wages in half. While they're talking, some of the men come looking for Casey. So Jim Casey's a good fucking guy. It's a good foil because Tom Joad's our guy, right? Regular, ordinary, average American man who, killed a guy, did a bids, walking home. And then Jim Casey, Mr. Preacher Man, he's a fucking union organizer, speaking up for the poor fucking... I mean, that's exactly what the Christian, you would think a preacher would be doing. Speaking up for the masses, the starving masses. I remember this story, Grapes of Wrath, you have all the farmers just dumping out their fruits and vegetables because they don't want to depress the wages and the prices and shit. Don't want to fuck with the market. You're getting a good price on this stuff. You start passing it out for free, well shit, you're going to basically kill your bottom line. And the shit's rotten, so, it's a little bit rotten. The starving men probably could eat it. But they didn't give a shit about Rose of Sharon. And you probably don't give a shit about Rose of Sharon, too. Do ya? Do ya, Idaho? While they're talking, some men come looking for Casey, who's apparently the leader of the strike, and they kill him. The men advance on him, and they kill him. Jim Casey, the fucking leader of the strike, the progressive... the Robert De La Follette, the Eugene Debs, the organizer, right, the Fred Hampton. Tom becomes infuriated and he kills one of the men, which, eye for an eye, that makes sense. That's Native American, right? You kill one of us, we get to kill one of you. Unless you're Tagayida, you kill my whole family, so, the whole damn colonizer settler experiment needs to get on. Get on back to Germany. He flees and gets back to camp, but he's got to hide. His nose is broken. And then guess what? The wages are cut in half the next day. The strike is broken. They killed the fucking main guy. Hell, there was a damn thing where they killed the main guy. Anyways, one of the Joad Children TV show. Cool Western. It started out good and then kind of just went about two brothers who had to go commit crimes because of their abusive father. Forget. The men advance on Jim Casey, immediately kill him. Tom becomes infuriated, kills one of the men, he flees. And then one of the damn Joe children is getting into a fight, and then they threaten to, I'll call my brother Tom, of course, her. Calls her brother Tom, bragging that he's killed a man. He killed a man. He'll kill you. How about that? Ma hears about the child's threat, goes to Tom, tells him he's got to leave. Tom Joad, our guy, right, is going to carry on. The Jean Valjean, the protagonist of The Grapes of Wrath. Where's that phrase come from? Because it was in that song, the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Thine eyes have seen the coming of the glory of the Lord. Something, something vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. So then they go to a place where they're picking cotton, right? The peach orchard, the peach orchard didn't work out. So now they're a bunch of cotton picking, blooming bastards. Tom's got to go, takes a little bit of money, then the cotton picking is over, the rain keeps coming. They try to build a little embankment, but the rain keeps coming, the embankment collapses, the baby is born, but the baby of Rose of Sharon is dead. The water continues to rise, then they build a little platform, and they stay there for 2 days. When the rain finally slackens a little bit, then they say they have to find a drier place. They carry the children on their back. They wade through the water. They come to some highway. Down the road, they find a barn with some dry hay. They also discover a man dying of starvation. The man's son tells him that his father hasn't eaten for 6 days. The Joads have no money and no food. And Ma Joad suggests to Rose of Sharon that she feed the dying man from her breast, which Rose of Sharon gladly does. The end. And everybody lives happily ever after. So the old died, the baby's dead, everybody's dying, right? So basically this is a dystopian nightmare. And I think this is supposed to be a wake-up call. I didn't realize how cool this book was until I saw the banned books. People were pissed off about this. What? Well, you're talking about people's life experiences? And it just got, the American dream is you work hard and things will be okay, but they worked hard and it wasn't okay. It just got worse and worse and worse for everybody. So this reminds me of Requiem for a Dream. Usually the Hollywood ending of movies is good, but Requiem for a Dream, it was awful. Everybody died or got their arm cut off or some shit. Everybody was in a terrible position and lonely and by themselves. Requiem for a Dream, also that haunting music. Dun 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 dun. Bang, bang, do 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 do. Okay. So I believe the movie actually ended hopefully, where it's like, we take a kicking and we keep on licking, or we take a licking and we keep on ticking. And you might push us down, but we stand right back up when push comes to shove. Well, we go ahead and take a baseball bat, and we don't give a. When they go low, we go lower. It don't matter, When push comes, and then you work hard, you do all right. So it kind of sucks. Kind of was like that one what Charlie Wilson's War. They could have said, oh, yeah, by the way, we're stuck in an Afghanistan quagmire, just like what the fucking Soviets were. So they had an opportunity to be fucking, goddamn legendary. You had that one movie where they ended it off. Legendary. Dr. Strangelove. The ending of Dr. Strangelove is one fucking ignorant ass cowboy is afraid about the fluoride in the water, so he drops a nuclear bomb, and then that sets off a chain of events, and then everybody blows each other up. So And it was to the, a beautiful world. I see skies of gray, clouds of white, bright blessed sun, dark sacred night, nothing to myself. What a wonderful world. So the movie could have done that, but they didn't do that. And it's also goddamn Jane Fonda's father, Peter fucking Fonda. Son of a bitch. Jane Fonda stuck her neck out, but what the fuck did Peter Fonda ever do? Peter Fonda wasn't no Maniac McGee. Peter Fonda wasn't even a damn Encyclopedia Brown. What was that one with little man walking to school? I have to find that out. Cam Jansen, Where the Red Fern Grows. Time to kill a mockingbird.